How's it going, everybody? This is Ray with the Houston Film Fanatics, and today we have a very special guest on the show. We are talking to Alex McAleer, and he is one of the very, very talented Champions of Magic. Now, the Champions of Magic show has actually just hit Houston. It's playing now through February 17th at the Hobby Center's Zilkha Hall. You can get your tickets now at thehobbycenter.org. But before we get to that, why don't we go talk to Alex himself and see what he has to say about this truly amazing show?
Hello,
Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
Well, Alex, I know for me personally, I am very, very excited to check out the show. Champions of Magic is in town. It's playing at the Hobby Center Zilkha Hall, and it looks like an incredibly fun time. What can you tell us about what we can expect to see in this production?
Well, Champions of Magic, it's an ensemble cast. There's five of us in the show, and we each specialize in our own, style or form of magic. So I'm the mind reader in the show, so I guess what people are thinking. We have Holly England. She does her own sort of artistic style of magic. Fernando Velasco is an escape artist, so he does the dangerous stuff, the exciting stuff. And Young and Strange, they're a double act, but they're kind of the comedy duo, but they also bring the big grand scale illusions, the fire, the spike, the boxes. And the whole show has this, it has pyrotechnics, it has lighting, it's got a camera and a big projector. So even the really small stuff, you can see absolutely huge. It's a big, spectacular, family friendly magic show.
Well, I'm sure that you get asked this constantly, but you know what? We're going to ask it again today. So, how did you figure out that this is what you could do with the mind reading? And I mean, at what point in your life did you realize, you know what, this is exactly what I want my career to be?
Well, the mind reading, it's something I was always interested in. It's not like a gift or anything like that. It's not like I, was in a car accident and suddenly could see people's thoughts. It's a skill I taught myself. Like when I was really little, I had, a magic kit like every kid does, but I didn't really get into magic. I was into everything when I was a kid. But when I was in my early teens, I was given a book about memory tricks, things to memorize things like memorize lists or facts or dates. And I really enjoyed doing that, and it encouraged you to show off to your friends your newfound, mental powers. And at the back of the book, it recommended other books, and some of them were books about mentalism. And mentalism is like a style of magic that's just tricks to do with the mind. So instead of using, a box of spikes, you get someone to think of something. Instead of, making a card disappear, that someone thinks of a card and you tell them what the card is. And I just got really into that, and I started showing my friends and family, and they really liked it. And eventually, I sort of took it onto stage and started performing it properly. And it was from that point that I was just like, this is the thing for me. Like I've always been a bit of an entertainer, a bit of a show off. And this was just the thing that really struck a chord with me. So I decided to start really focusing on that.
Now, I mean, I know like anytime that I've ever had to be on a stage doing anything in front of a crowd, I mean, I know I get butterflies and I am definitely not doing any fantastical tricks or any kind of magic with anything that I do. So, do you get nervous still, like a little bit butterflies before you take the stage?
Yeah, still, you still get a little bit of, a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of nerves before you go on. I guess with a show like this, I've been with this show for a long time. A lot of the stuff I'm doing in the show, I've been doing for a long time. So you don't get too anxious about this, but there is always just that little unsettling voice in the back of your mind, like, what if you can't do it anymore? What if you've just forgotten how to do it? Or what if something goes wrong? But especially if there's new stuff, often we experiment with changing things in the show. And if there's new stuff, it's very, very nerve-wracking. You've got all this stuff in your head. You've got the words you've got to say, the things you've got to do. You've got to make sure the cues are right. Yeah, you do get nervous, but that's kind of the thrill of it, really. It's the horrible feeling before, but the absolute relief afterwards. And I think, instead of bungee jumping or skydiving, my version of that is going on stage and just, saying I can read minds and then trying to prove that I can read minds.
I love that. Well, since you bring it up, that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you. So, when it comes to introducing new things to the show, how long does it typically take from the initial inception of the idea until you guys feel comfortable enough to let's take it to the stage and let's do it live?
It really genuinely varies, and it doesn't really vary depending on what the thing is. It can just vary. Sometimes you have an idea on the drive to the next venue or something like that, and you go like, "Oh, maybe I'll just try that idea, even if it's a joke or a new way to do something." And you do it, and it just works perfectly, and you're like, "Great, that's in now." But sometimes it can take months or even years. Like there's In the second half of the show, I have this whole act based on sort of a legend in magic about a certain thing, which I won't spoil right now. But that's been an idea in the back of my mind for years and years and years and years. And then we just started to experiment with it. So we started to, get the set design right and also what the general idea of it is. And then it's gone through a few different iterations over time, but now it's sort of settled into what it is. But even now, we're still working on it. But it can take, anything from 6 months to a year to really get something to the stage where it can fit in a show like this, a big spectacular show where people expect the very best. But yeah, about 6 months to a year, I reckon, for most things. But even every time you perform, we're always refining things, trying to improve them.
What has been the most fun about being on this tour?
Most fun. For my favorite bit is the show. Doing the show every night is like a real privilege. Like it's the thing I've always wanted to do is stand in front of an audience and entertain them. And with what I do, the audience are really a big part of it. So it changes every night for me. My first set in the show, after about 2 minutes in, I genuinely don't know what's going to happen because the audience members are deciding what happens and how they react, how they respond, or what they choose to think of. So that's my favorite part. It's just I kind of get to improvise for about 5 minutes and just try and think on my feet and keep it entertaining. So that's my favorite part. Yeah.
I love that. It's one of those things I was thinking a lot of, when we were planning out questions and stuff for this, and I started thinking about this has to be a constant thing for all of y'all, and I don't know if this is true, so that's why we ask. But when you think of like, okay, if you're introducing yourself to somebody for the first time, they ask you, "What is your profession?" I feel like the next thing out of their mouth is going to be, "Can you demonstrate that?" I mean, you wouldn't ask that if I met an NFL player. I'm not going to ask him to tackle me just to prove that he's got his chops,
Yeah. It happens a lot. What I tend to do, it depends on my mood actually, but sometimes, if I've been performing a lot or on tour for ages, I don't really want to do my job. It's not really a job, my job. So sometimes I lie about stuff. But the British accent here in the States elicits a bit more of interest as well. So like, what are you over here doing? So I can't just say I'm an accountant or something like that. I have to make something. Or you're sitting getting a haircut or something. But like I've said quite elaborate lies. Like I said, I'm here making a documentary about corn mazes. Just because they're going to be like, oh, wow. And I just happened to have read an article about corn mazes recently, so I knew a bit. And I think we were in Illinois or somewhere like that, where there would be corn mazes. But sometimes, yeah, I do say, oh, I'm a performer. And they go, what kind of performer? Oh, I work in a magic show. Oh, what do you do? And then he just gets to mind reader, and it does get to, can you show me something? And then I do try sometimes, but with a show like Champions, it's such a big production. It's kind of only going to be a little bit disappointing if I just kind of guess a number they're thinking of, But I guess I have it slightly easier. I don't need any big, shiny props or anything like that to do my stuff. Whereas the illusion guys, they need all the things. So, yeah. But yeah, it happens a lot.
Well, I do feel like, once you're done touring, if you wanna take on that corn maze documentary, I can make some calls for it.
Yeah, I'd watch
it. 100%. It sounds amazing. Basically, yeah, I always like to kind of wrap up with this quick question is why do you think people need to come on down to the Hobby Center and check out Champions of Magic?
Wow, I mean, everyone has seen a magic trick or a magician, but I think no one's ever really seen it live. Most people haven't seen it live. You've only ever seen it on your phone or on TV. And if you're just watching on your phone or TV, you're not really experienced the magic. And also when you're watching on a screen, you don't know what's happened before. You don't know if it's edited. You don't know if it's CGI, So I think seeing a live magic show is the best way to experience magic. And what's really good about this show is you see every kind of magic. You see close-up magic, you see things like cards, coins, illusions, fire, spike, mind reading, escapes. You see it all. This is the show to come see. And no matter what your age is as well, there's something for everyone. You're going to have a good time, guaranteed.
Well, I know I am very excited to check out the show. You guys absolutely are going to have a blast. Come and see Champions of Magic. It is playing now through February 17th at the Hobby Center, Zilkha Hall. You can get your tickets at thehobbycenter.org. And Alex, thank you so much for talking to us today. I really appreciate your time.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, this has been Ray with the Houston Film Fanatics. We will talk to you guys real soon. And Alex, I will definitely be seeing you soon, and I can't wait.